Here are the closing statements. Boy, oh boy, what a night.
I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
So she just started by...
Okay, so her closing statement is all rosy, peachy. I'm Mamala, as some people are referring to her, and with a number of people that will resonate and they'll be happy. The most lethal fighting force. I don't know who in the hell thought that that is a good response or that is the way to address our military, but that should scare the shit out of everybody. We will have the most lethal fighting force. Lethal means to kill. That's what it is. Lethal is death. We will have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I don't know about you, but it's almost like she's trying to set us up for war. More war, quite frankly, because that's what we're in the middle of right now. Now, let's be honest. What's going on between Russia and Ukraine is really a war between Russia and NATO, and we're at the head of NATO. And that's how this is. It's just one big proxy, despicable war. And then what's going on is a genocide in the Middle East. And I haven't even addressed Taiwan and the saber rattling that's going to go into overdrive with China. What about BRICS? A lot of countries want to get off the dollar. You think you've seen anything yet? You wait until that starts to happen, because that's what should scare the shit out of everybody. This idea that we're going to have a commander-in-chief that wants to poke in that direction, that ain't going to work for me. Bad shit. Really bad shit. Well, let's see if it could get any worse. Sorry, but the Donald has got to talk.
Saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years.
Okay, I don't honestly need to hear anything else, but that's a great response. It just is. And the fact that that's the lasting response that he's going to give, it's going to stick. So we'll keep going, but I got to tell you, that's a great answer.
They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like, we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughing. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
So I think you've heard.
Okay. God, Donnie, you're such a headache. What did he say that was correct outside of his opening statement, which is, why haven't they done it in 3.5 years? That's a great response. But then, of course, he goes into the riffraff of jumping back and forth in a whole bunch of different directions, suggesting that somehow he's the only person that can fix this. It's not true, but, maybe he can make it better. I don't know. He's not getting my vote, so I can't tell you how it's going to unfold. But the state of Florida will go for Donald Trump. State of California will go for Kamala Harris. State of Texas will go for Donald Trump. The state of New York will go for Kamala Harris, and so on and so forth. And eventually you get down to about 7 or 8 states. And they will ultimately determine what direction this country is going to go in. I don't know for sure who's going to win, but I'll share how I feel later down the road, because things can happen. If you're asking me to put it on a scorecard, who won this debate, who lost this debate, I can't really say either one won it. I can't really say either one lost it. If I had to give an edge, I would give it to Trump, because I think he hit on a couple of key topics that really matter to voters in this election better than she did. I think there were times where he was all over the place. I think there were times where she was all over the place. One of the things that Kamala did that I really didn't, there were 2 things that she did I really didn't like. The more important one, of course, is that she would not answer a question directly. She would jump around and go into a whole bunch of other topics. And she would get scrambled, if you will. They accused Trump of doing that too. And yeah, he did it at times, but she did it too. And then the other thing, which is going to be an issue, is the faces. She makes a lot of dirty faces at him, and that doesn't work. Now, Trump will, he'll smirk and do things like that, but she was like, it's like, no, that's not good. That's stuffy, and I'm better than you. And it's like, don't do that. There are ways to nail him, and you can. And there were times where she did. There were a number of times in the debate that I thought she did very well, particularly when it came to the issue of abortion. I thought that she hit him on that very well. I thought the way she responded on the issue of race was very good too. But that's not what's going to win the election. I think the issues in particular, when it came to inflation and it came to immigration, I think that was in his corner. He didn't fail in this debate. And I think that, more than anything else, was really all you were looking for. The only thing that I would say definitively, and the more I listened to this debate, the more I realized that the only way that this election was going to shift in any substantial way is if Kamala face planted. Now, she didn't face plant. She had her moments. There were good, there were bad, and there were some in between. But if she face planted, then I would definitely say Trump has it in the bag, but he doesn't. This is a toss-up election. Anything can happen. We'll see. It's going to be very interesting but it's also a reflection of how far we have sunk. And I think in particular, the way that they responded regarding Israel was just disgusting. And can't say I'm surprised.